Councilmember Salache, you're the only board member on. Would you like to lead it or you want me to lead this meeting?
Yeah, but you're part of the committee.
You want me to lead the meeting or you want me to lead it, council member?
Oh, sorry. I will.
You will? Okay. Watch out what you
Thank
ask.
you. I will. Thank you.
All right, we can start now.
Welcome and thank you for participating in today's meeting for the South Coast Air Quality Management District. If attending in person, please do not connect to Zoom or teleconference while in the room. To prevent disruptions, please silence all devices. All participants on Zoom, except for board members and South Coast AQMD staff, will be placed on mute. You will not be able to mute or unmute your line manually. After each item, public comment will be taken. If you are participating in person and wish to comment, please use the iPads which are located in the lobby if the meeting is in the auditorium. For meetings in other locations, please complete a blue speaker card and provide the card to a South Coast AQMD employee. Information on how to participate in the meeting in Spanish using a telephone will be provided at the end of these housekeeping remarks. Speakers may be limited to a total of 3 minutes or less for all items on the agenda. The amount of time to comment may be shortened to ensure all speakers can be heard. A countdown timer will be displayed on the screen for each public comment. If interpretation is needed, more time will be allotted. For questions or issues related to making public comment, please call the public advisor at 909-396-3247. That's 909-396-3247. In terms of decorum, if this meeting is taking place in the auditorium, no food or beverages are allowed in the auditorium. In accordance with state and local public health department guidelines, people may choose to wear a mask based on personal preference while in South Coast AQMD facilities. Please adhere to the speaker time limit and treat others with courtesy, civility, and respect. Failure to do so can result in your mic being muted or you being removed from the meeting. Lastly, be aware that this meeting is being recorded. By participating, you agree to authorize recording of audio and visual content presented during the live event and consent to subsequent use of the recording in the public domain by South Coast AQMD.
It's all yours, Councilmember Salache. Councilmember Salache, it's all yours.
Hey, how are you guys? It's called to order. It is 11:34. At this point, we'll go to item number 2. Action item. The minutes. Is there a motion for the minutes?
So we're gonna do a roll call first. That's okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's it. Sorry about that. Let's do the roll call first.
Ipe Aguirre, Rochelle Arizmendi, Paul Avila,
Present.
Jeff Blake, Mr. Blake,
Mr. Blake, present.
Todd Campbell,
Here.
Levon Daniel, John DeWitt, Bill Lamar, Rita Loof, Eddie Marquez, David Rothbart, Councilmember Salache,
Present.
Mayor Dawson is absent, Supervisor Hagman, and Chair Rodriguez is absent.
Council member, we don't have a quorum, so we'll get the.
That was my question, Derek. So we don't have a quorum. to approve any actual items. So what we'll do is we have two options. We could continue with the meeting and just not go through the action items and just table those until either we have quorum or put them to the next meeting. Is that the preference of staff? Is that okay?
Yes, that's great.
Okay, good. So let's do that. Let's move forward with the agenda. We'll skip item 2, which is the action item with the minutes. And we'll move on to item 3, which is the first item on discussion item. First item is item 3, review the follow-up and action item. So Derek, you want to do that first? And again, there's no action on this one anyway.
Yes, thank you, council member. The first one is the committee wanted to place on a future agenda discussion of the LGSBA charter revisions. We're going to be doing that in the future. Action item number 2 is provide an update on outreach to cities and local governments. We do provide an agenda package to for each meeting, and it's sent to each of the city managers within our jurisdiction. And there are no other business. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Torre, for that update. We'll go on to item 4, general fund budget. Can we have Ms. Jadas on the line?
Yes.
Or is she there?
Yes, she's here. She's just
Okay, that's fine.
Elaine, can you bring up the presentation? Right. Thank you. Good morning. It's great. Good morning, members of the association. Sujata Jain, Chief Financial Officer. This is a presentation of our 23-24 budget and Regulation 3 amendments. Next slide, please.
next slide.
Still on the same slide.
Yeah, we're having a technical difficulty right now. We're getting it fixed.
No worries. I just want to make sure. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. All right. So in this slide, I'm just showing a couple items that I'll be talking about. We'll give the overview of the fiscal year 23-24 budget, and there is a slide on revenue and expenditure uncertainties. There's a 5-year projection, and then the Reg 3 fee amendments. Next slide, please. So revenue and expenditure uncertainties, retirement cost increase. This year, in the fiscal year 23-24 budget, there was a slight decrease in our retirement cost. Typically, it does increase from year to year, but retirement cost decrease was mainly because in June of 2021, SB Sarah had a very, very good year, and that gain on investments gets smoothed out over 5 years. So we're still riding on that gain, which caused a little bit of a decrease. But I do point it out as an uncertainty because in future years, SB Sarah can be looking at changing their assumptions, which is their rate of return. Currently, it's at 7.25, but many of the California entities, retirement associations are at about 7 or a little bit lower. So anytime they decrease our assumptions, that will increase the cost to AQMD. The next bullet is AB 617 ongoing funding. And we often have to keep an eye out on this because this funding comes from the state and it's renewed annually. So currently we do get about 21.88 million, and we'd like to keep it at that level because we have staffing. There's a lot of work that goes into this program. However, you know, we are hearing that it may go down or may stay at the same level, but the work does increase. The next item is federal and state funding. Federal funding, as you did see, we did avert a federal shutdown in October. However, we are okay for right now, but there was some talk on some of our federal grants that could be lowered slightly. So far, that hasn't happened though. Penalties and settlements, once again, are always an uncertainty. We do budget a certain amount and have been getting that much at least in the past 2 or 3 budgets. And inflation impact on the economy. This is, everybody's talking about that and how it's going to impact our economy and the businesses is, you know, on a lot of people's mind because the inflation just took off, you know, in the past 1 or 2 years, and the impact is not immediately felt by AQMD businesses, but it is out there. Next slide, please.
Yara,
Yes. Yes.
may I ask a question or till the end?
Sure.
What I was going to ask you is on your assumptions, and being in somewhat an overlapping business as you are, is when somebody comes into AQMD, are they full-time employees, W-2? The agency doesn't contract out for work. And my question is, second question would be, and I don't know if you're the HR person, but are these costs included with the contractor? For example, let's say I contract and do some work for AQMD, then there's, let's say, an assumption that I'll take, let's say I have a 2-year contract, then it's over, and then that's that. Are those figures included into yours?
Correct. So all salaries, AQMD employees are pretty much salaried. That is included in the general fund budget. And we do have a lot of contracts, not particularly for positions, but for work. Yeah, like we did hire, we did bring back some of our retirees to bring down the permit backlog. So that was contract, and that is included in the general fund budget also. Thank you. All right, so we're at the general fund budget summary slide, and that's slide number 4. So this is a brief overview, and our budget for fiscal year 22-23, it was a balanced budget at 189.2 million, and our 23-24 budget is also a balanced budget at $196.3 million. There was some amendments in 22-23, and our actuals came in at revenue being at 190.8 and program costs being at $185.8 million. And these are unaudited numbers. We are still going through our audit, but we don't expect it to change too much. Next slide, please. This slide is on our 5-year projection, and it has a lot going on, so I'll just break it up into a couple things. Our board's policy is to keep our reserves at 20% of revenue. So currently we are higher than that. However, the projections that we are showing, these do not include any increase in the labor costs. The potential, I would say potential, because we are still in negotiations and our labor contract ends December of this year. So that's not included there. We did balance our 23-24 budget at 11% vacancy, and we have about authorized positions at 1,010, but of course at 11% vacancy, we can fill in about 899 positions. Currently, we have a vacancy rate of about 15%. We've brought it down from 20 to 15. So we're working very hard to bring that vacancy down to 11. And we have projected out CPI. We know that CPI for 23-24 was at 5.6%. In the next year, we did get a projection of 5.3, and in the out years, 3 to 3.5%. Next slide, please. And this last slide is on Reg 3 fee amendments. So in fiscal year 23-24, the CPI increase was 5.6 that I just mentioned in the previous slide. And we added a 4% fee increase because of permit processing fees. And that 4% is broken down 2% in fiscal year 23-24 and 2% in fiscal year 24-25. It's been phased in. And that pretty much concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Sujata, for that presentation and the update. I think there's someone with a raised hand in the room, on my right-hand side. Okay, go ahead.
There are 2 raised hands.
Yes, please. Can you help me with that? Because I could see the room, but I don't know the names. I apologize.
We'll
Yes,
go with
Rita.
Chivalry first.
There you
Rita
go.
Loof.
Rita first.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you. And apologies for being tardy. I have 2 questions. The first one is on slide 5. Sujata, under the revenues, how much exactly is that permit fees? How much of that 210.9 million projected for 27-28? How much is revenue from permit fees?
So Rita, permit fees are approximately 20% of our budget. So if you are projecting out to 27-28, it'll be about that much. But in 23-24, it was about $19 million.
Okay, thank you. And then on slide 6, for the fee increase, one of the things that I raised at the public workshop for the budget was that currently pollution prevention processes in the permit fee schedule have exactly the same fee schedule as the high polluting solvent processes. So one of our requests was to create a new fee schedule for UV, EV, LED materials. And at the time, Wayne said he was going to bring it back to either administrative committee or stationary source. Do we know where we are in that process?
Okay, next speaker.
Hi, Rita. We're still looking at that, and I know we do need to come back to that. So I'm not sure if it'll be folded into the May amendment. There's just so many rules for us right now that are sort of in the cooker. I'm not sure if it makes sense for us to bring that individually, but we are definitely, when we come back in May, we always do the Reg 3 amendment. We'll look at it then. If there's another amendment to Reg 3 before that, then we can look at it and incorporate it at that time too, if there's any change.
Is there a rule amendment that's absolutely needed in order to address that, or is there an easier process like an administrative?
It would have to be
Proceeding.
an amendment to.
It would
Reg
have
3.
to be an amendment
Yeah.
to the.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if we're changing into the fees or the fee schedules, it would be an amendment to Reg 3.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that. We have a second speaker, or yeah, questions.
Jada, a question. This is kind of like a amorphous type question. This year, or at least half of last year, half of this year, the state benefited by the generosity of the federal government, a windfall of money. That's going away, obviously. Now, are these projections included, or are assumptions made that there's going to be additional revenue, or just a one-shot deal?
Just to clarify, Paul, did you mean the CARES money or something
Right.
like that?
And other smaller programs that were
Yeah.
pushed forward.
Due to the pandemic?
Right.
Unfortunately, AQMD did not get any portion of the CARES money. So to answer your question, they're not included in the budget or in our projections.
Okay, any other questions? Anyone?
None over here.
Okay, thank you. Anyone on Zoom? No, it's only, am I the only one on Zoom? Just clarifying.
Yeah, we do have public comment.
Okay,
There is one, Harvey Eder.
okay, we go ahead, public comment, please.
And Harvey, you're up.
Yes. Hello, am I being heard? Yes. Hello.
Yes, you are, Harvey.
Yes, we can hear you, Harvey.
Okay, my name is Harvey Eder. I'm speaking for myself and for the Public Service Coalition. In reference to major costs, social costs from debts in the district that I spoke earlier in the last meeting in legislative comments about how the basis is wrong and there's problems. It's orders of magnitude off. 7,500 deaths per year in the district, or 2/3 of that, 4,000 or 5,000. I mean, the district, 7,500 for the whole state of Florida. And Lancet says 1.1 to 1.5 million from the whole country per year. And Chen Medical Center at Harvard says, and that's based on 10 million deaths, basically worldwide, based on 7 million deaths, 350,000. EPA uses 50, and that's where our number comes from, as being 15%. So these are deaths, and they're valued at 12 million per year. They've gone up from 07, from 3 and 15 years. And so each 1,000 deaths is $12 billion. A million, at 1.5 million from Lancet, times the 12 that's using for indirect trust from the warehouse. That's 12 times 1.5 is 18. That's $18 trillion. That's equal to the whole gross economy. So when this stuff hits, and it's hitting, local governments going to have big problems. Local government, small business. We've seen the bankruptcies going out, small business affecting commercial and the banks, commercial banks, and now we've got half the banks are totally unregulated, shadow banks. They own the other banks or are owned by them. We've got big problems of political, economic, social, cultural analysis of this, and this is being discussed at many levels in podcasts and people and places. And we got to be aware of it. And these kind of comments and reactions that we got at the last meeting that are being purged now need further discussion some damn place, because things are breaking apart and we got to deal with it. Okay, thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Elder, for your comment. Do we have any more speakers? Okay, seeing none. Seeing none, we're gonna move on to the next item, and that's the other matters, item number 5. Is there anything from anyone on the committee?
Rita or Luke has a question.
Okay, sorry, I just saw the screen. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was just wondering what the timeline for the draft letter on CARB's AB 617 Community Air Protection Blueprint is like, and what the status is. I know the committee approved sending the letter to either the board or station resource committee.
So the problem is getting a quorum here. We need to get the advisory group a quorum here to vote on it, and we have not had a quorum. So that's a challenge that we have.
I thought we had a quorum at the last meeting. I know that happened at the preliminary meeting, but I thought at our last meeting we did have a quorum and it was ultimately approved, was it not?
No, there was no quorum. There was not a quorum.
Derek, I have a question to Rita's question. Is there a draft letter that we already have that would be finalized, considered finalized for the committee to approve in the case that we do get quorum?
Yes, there is.
Okay. And does it have to be agendized? Because I don't see it on the agenda.
Right. It's not agendized. It is in the packet, but
Okay.
it has been agendized, but it does need a vote of the committee.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh,
Any other questions?
so Susan just told me that they've already taken action on the blueprint. The CARB took action on the blueprint 2.0 for AB 617. So it's going to have to. It's always been a quorum problem here.
Okay.
I recall we voted on it. I know we didn't have a quorum at one of the meetings and then it came back. So maybe the staff that does the minutes can clarify that because I thought for sure we had a quorum last time around and that it went through unanimously.
The challenge, Rita, it's not on the agenda today, so we weren't prepared to address that. I mean, I did attend 2 meetings ago and then I believed it was, I have to look at the agenda for last meeting, but I mean, whatever action was taken is going to be followed through, but it's not an agenda item today for us to address.
Right. And that's why I think Rita was asking about the agenda itself. I mean, the items, I don't see it on the agenda. So let's do this. Let's clarify Rita's question about the last thing she has. And then if there's a need to bring it to the board, even if we don't have quorum in the future, assuming that I hope we do, but I think we should put it on the agenda if that's a request to be considered, or at least be discussed for that matter.
Right. The issue, also the other issue is that ARB already voted on their Blueprint 2.0, which would have been the opportune time to submit that letter before they voted on it. We can still submit it. It's not going to be part of the blueprint when they make their annual changes to it. So we'll look into the issue. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Derek. Rita, anything else, Rita? Just want to make sure I don't move on before I ask you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And I appreciate it. So yeah, if we could bring it back, because that's really a shame. I know this committee worked on that for months. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Rita. Is there anyone else in the audience? I don't see anyone else. Okay, we're going to move on to 6, just a general public comment period. Do we have anyone comment in the audience?
None
Not,
here.
do we have any other speakers on the online?
Harvey Eder.
Okay, Mr. Elder, you have 3 minutes. Maybe he left. So anyone else?
He needs to unmute himself.
Okay, Mr. Elder, go ahead. In case you're speaking, Mr. Elder, we can't hear you.
Harvey, you need to unmute yourself.
We see your hand raised, but we can't hear you. You're on mute. Okay, going. Last call, Mr. Eder, last call. Okay, sorry, we're having technical problems. He's having technical problems. We're gonna move on with the agenda. With that, we have our next meeting, Friday, February 9th at 11:30 a.m. There's no other comments from the committee members. We are going to adjourn. Okay, with no objection, we are adjourned at noon. Thank you, staff. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you, Derek.